Berlin Wall. In the very center of Europe stood a symbol of separation. That stood for 28 years. This is the story of the Berlin Wall. Not just a physical barrier separating East and West Berlin, but also a symbol of the ideological division between democracy and communism during the Cold War. And so in November 1989, before the eyes of the world, the barrier was torn down, an event made possible by the will of the people. The Berlin Wall was erected on the night of August 13, 1961, by the government of the GDR German Democratic Republic, which sought to stop the mass exodus of its citizens to West Berlin and on to the Federal Republic of Germany, FRG. After the end of World War II, Germany was divided into 4 occupation zones controlled by the United States, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, and France. Berlin, which was entirely in the Soviet zone, was also divided into 4 sectors. During the 1950s, the economic and political situation in East Germany was deteriorating, while West Germany, thanks to the support of the West, was experiencing an economic miracle. This forced millions of East Germans to move to the West in search of a better life, leading to a serious outflow of labor and intellectual capital from the GDR. By 1961, the situation had become critical. The GDR authorities and their Soviet allies decided that the only way to stop the outflow of population was to physically close the border. Construction of the wall began in secret and was presented as a protective measure to prevent aggression from the West and to protect against fascist elements who, according to the GDR authorities, were trying to undermine the socialist state. The wall, which began as a simple barbed wire fence, eventually evolved into a complex system of guarded walls, observation towers, minefields, and death zones designed to prevent any attempt to cross the border. It became a symbol of the Iron Curtain that divided Eastern and Western Europe during the Cold War, and a living testament to the separation of the German nation and its capital. By the early 1980s, the political and social climate in Eastern Europe had begun to change. Glasnost and perestroika reforms initiated by the new General Secretary of the CPSU, Mikhail Gorbachev, in the mid-1980s gradually loosened the Soviet Union's tight control over the Allied states. These reforms called for greater openness, transparent governance, and economic transformation, which led to increased public confidence in the possibility of change. In East Germany, as in other Eastern Bloc countries, discontent with political stagnation and economic hardship began to grow. The influence of perestroika and glasnost policies, as well as the successes of solidarity in Poland, inspired GDR citizens to organize peaceful protests. These protests, initially centered on demands for religious freedom and human rights, gradually developed into mass demonstrations demanding political reforms and the possibility of free movement. On November 9, 1989, the world witnessed a stunning turn of events. The East German leadership suddenly announced that citizens could freely cross the border between East and West Berlin. This announcement caused first bewilderment and then great joy among the population. People on both sides of the wall picked up hammers, chisels, and other tools and began actively dismantling the barrier that had separated their families and friends for 28 years. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked not only the reunification of Germany, but also the beginning of the end of the Cold War. It was a moment when hope overcame despair, unity overcame division, and freedom overcame restrictions. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to learn more about important historical events. See you soon.